is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. A wild day it's been for the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully you've been able to check out all the moves they have made. You know, I promised you this trade series coming up. Wide receiver was one of the positions. So glad I did all that work for nothing. But the Eagles signed Julio Jones. Go check that out and some other roster moves. But it's still Howie season, baby. Do not think that he is done cooking. The media can get twisted. Oh, I knew he would only sign a receiver. Yeah, you're allowed to do more than one thing any day, any week. I don't know where that narrative comes from, but Howie will continue to build, especially where the areas we are missing pieces now. So I compiled a list of, I looked at every depth chart on every team, looked at all the players, and went through all the positions that I thought the Eagles could use some help in. And clearly, with the safety position the way it is for the Eagles right now, I thought we could talk about safeties. And I had taken a vote. Apparently, Herschel's pumped about it. I had taken a vote earlier about, what you guys wanted. Obviously, the safety, this is what you want to talk about. So that's what we're going to jump in front of here. And hopefully we can beat Howie to it, beat the Phillies game before it starts. This might come out when it's on. Appreciate you whenever you're watching. Appreciate you hitting the like button. Herschel, come on, dude. Appreciate all that you guys do to support the channel, even dealing with Herschel when he wants to be a little clown. So let's jump right into this and take a look at some of the Eagles information that you need to know for this trade series here. So we're going to take a look at the cap space and the draft picks. Now, the cap space, I don't know exactly because of all the moves we just made. So I'll give you the closest we've got, what we most recently had, and all of that news that you need to know going into this Howie season, with the trade deadline being October 31st. So let's take a gander. Now, keep in mind, we do have other things that, the money, obviously, we talk about a lot here. And I try to make, as many breakdowns as I can to explain this thing. But I always let you know, not just the cap. Now, usually I have, the top 53 players, what their cap hits are. But again, Julio, he was added to the practice squad. We had Josiah Scott added to the active roster. So things are going to change. Not going to give you that, but you can see 56.3 in dead money, 10.6 to the IR right now, and then 3.7 to the practice squad. So hoping, obviously Justin Evans will come off of there. We don't know, Quez Watkins there. That's a few mil there. But, obviously injuries suck. They're going to take their toll, and then the practice squad you see there. But with all of those liabilities, the Eagles currently, before Julio and all that, we have 4.9 mil. So moving things around, you're probably still going to be around, the $4.5 million range. It's not going to change that much. So you still have some money to play with. And I will talk about certain things. Now, that's not the most money in the world, but Howie Roseman can work with some of these contracts. So what I'll do is look at all the contracts. I'll explain it here in a second. But the Eagles have some cap space here, around $5 million. And in the future, we've got a lot of money there too. So 59 next year, 64 the year after that, 92. So lots of ammo here. And you look at the draft picks, we've talked about this. Lots of draft picks here. Those compensatory picks can change there, but right now, a third, a fourth, 2/5. So to me, obviously we're stacked here with 17 draft picks in the next 2 years. So the Eagles can do whatever the hell they want. And obviously there are players that, a lot of fans don't like, that they would like to be traded, whether that be Derek Barnett. Quez Watkins cannot be traded right now. He is on IR, so that's not going to happen. But look, we've got a little bit of cap space. We've got the draft picks. And the reason we're talking about safety first is, well, a position I thought, I was very high on, definitely against the crowd on that one. Justin Evans, I really like, what he brings to the table. And starting with Reed Blankenship until Sidney Brown gets up the pace, ready to ride. I liked it. Terrell Evans there is the fourth guy. Good to go. But injuries, man. Evans now on IR, so he can't even play. Sidney Brown's been banged up. So we need to add to this room. And it's unfortunate, maybe you figure things out. You've got versatile defensive backs. You just brought Josiah Scott, the defensive back that can play corner, safety. So, I mean, he can help you out, maybe. And you've got Tristan McCollum on the practice squad. So there are options, but your active roster, again, all you've got is these three guys here. And it says 4 there, but it's 3. Blankenship, Brown, Edmonds. So, yeah, that's why we're talking about safety. So what I'm going to do here right now, is a lot of the time, you hear this guy's being traded for, that guy's being traded for, this, that, the other thing. Well, what I'm going to show you is if the Eagles could trade for them. I'll tell you my, opinion on the matter, if I think they should, whatever the case may be here. But I got 20 names for you, went through each roster, looked at them, and I brought their contract information with. So I know nobody else is out there doing it. So if you enjoy this kind of content, do me a favor, hit that like button. We're going to jump in and look at these 20 players, and I'm going to give you their contract and how things work. If you were to trade for them, all these things, just listen up and we'll go through it. But if you have any questions, any kind of comments here, please feel free to drop them down below. Let's start it off with number 20 here, Daniel Sorenson. That's right, Old Man River. And they've got Marcus May coming back from injury. So, again, I was looking at all of the rosters and, who would be willing to trade someone away and who would be willing to maybe come here and help out. Now, Sorenson, he signed a one-year deal. He's 33 years old. And you see here, look, that says cut, there's trade, restructure, extend. And in the cut and the trade portions, you see there's cap saved and there is dead money. Anything you see in black, that means money you would lose. So you see, if they were to cut him, they'd save that money, the same amount that if they traded him. So not a big deal. That's his cap hit. These one-year deals, that's kind of how it works. You can't restructure him. If you extended him, you would actually lose $680,000. So nobody's looking to do that. But this is a back-end barrel to make it number 20 guy. And I wouldn't be against, having a veteran here to help. But I think I'm all right on Daniel Sorenson. But I'm trying to make it 20 players for each position. So let's keep it moving. Adrien Phillips here, the safety for the Patriots. And they've got a plethora of safeties there. Now, he's 31 years old. He's been in the league for a minute. He's had 8 seasons. This will be his 9th. So he's been playing in the league for a minute. Now, if you cut him, you're going to lose more money than you gain. So you would look to trade him. Now, I don't know if they are, but they should be sellers at this point. So if you were to trade him, you would take on that 1.18 mil, and then you would save that 3.3. That is what the next team would be taking on, not the cap hit in the bottom left, which is 4.5. They would take on about 1.2 of that, and you would pay the 3.3. You could extend him, save a little bit more if you wanted, but he wouldn't cost you that much. But kind of a big cap hit for an older guy that I think I'm good on, so that's why he's down further on this list. Now, number 18, Eddie Jackson. And look, I like this guy's playmaking ability. He is 30 years old now. It's just the injuries, man. He's only played in 6 accrued seasons, but injuries, getting older, and his cap hit, 17.09 mil. Holy shenanigans. So, no thanks. But if you cut him, you can see you'd save an assload of money. The same amount of money if you would trade him. The money's the same there. Dead money would be 3.9. You would save, if you were the Bears, 13.1. So the Eagles would have to pay the 13.1. Now they could extend him, and he's got those years that are added on. You can see here. So the way it would work is you could save 9.6 mil, as you see at the bottom there, but the next year you would save 10.4. Then you would lose like $1 million the next. But in those remaining 3 years, you could lower that cap hit to around 8 mil each year that you have. And then in that final year in 2025, he would only cost you around 2 mil. So it's not that it's not possible. You could work things around, do some things, but I don't think you're paying, that kind of money for a guy, just that's a big no thanks for me, just being real with you. So even if you could get him around 4 mil with that extension on the trade, no thanks. Now up next, you've got Taylor Rapp, and they're loaded at safety with the Bills, so maybe they're not looking to unload him. They do use him a little bit, but on a 1-year deal, 26 years old, and you can see the money, 120 saved if you cut him. If you trade him, you save 1.1, and then you would have $650,000 in dead money. Extending him would only give you $32,000, but very cheap. You can make it happen. Not so sure that's the way I go there, but I thought I'd throw him in there. Now, number 16, Kareem Jackson. And this is a name, look, I liked him for a while, but that's the thing. I liked him in the NFL for a while. He has 12 accrued seasons in the NFL. On the last year of his contract here, 1-year deal. And you can see the money, it's there. It's very easy on $1.3 million cap hit. You could extend him and really make it absolutely nothing. You can do whatever the hell you want, but a little bit older. I see a lot of people. I wanted to touch on all the names everybody's talking about. So here's this. You could definitely make it happen. just don't know if a 35-year-old guy, and look, he is a versatile piece. He can play some nickel corner, some safety. I just don't know if that's the route I want to go here. And look, maybe they feel differently, but we shall see. Now at number 15, Jaylen Mills. Oh, yes, we all remember him. But look, they are loaded in the secondary. I talk about them being sellers when we talked about Phillips. But Jaylen Mills here, he's got 2 years left on his contract. And I think for me, you see here, if you trade him, you're only paying about, that 2.9 mil. Look, man, they're only taking on a little bit of dead money there. You really, you don't have to pay too much. You could try to extend it. I wouldn't do that. You could try to restructure it a little bit, make it around 2.5 mil, bring him back. He helps you in a couple of areas. I could see that, but not exactly my favorite move. I love me some Mills, man. The Green Goblin always have love for him, but 29 years old, I might look in a different direction, but I wouldn't be against it. Now, at number 14 here, Bobby McCain, and this is no real specific order, so I don't have to really give you the numbers, but try to give it more to the guys I like toward the top, but we'll keep it moving here. You see 1 year left. He's 30 years old. I like, the depth they have there, the Giants. I don't know if they'd be willing to deal with us, but very small cap hit for another versatile piece, a guy that can play some nickel corner, some safety. That could definitely help you, and he is not a starter there. Maybe he's looking to get some time. Really for me because of this contract. So I like Kevin Byard. He's 30 years old. He's got 4 years remaining, but really he can become a free agent. He's got some outs coming up next year. So a weird contract, but I'll try to explain things for you. So $11.27 million cap hit here. And if you trade him, they're going to have to take on $7.2 million in dead money. So the team acquiring him, you only really pay that $4 million. You could restructure him, make him around $2 million. You could, again, just have it around $2 million. It isn't a horrible deal for Kevin Byard, but he is 30 years old. I'm a fan of Philly dude. Love me some Kevin Byard, but I just feel I would go in a different direction. That's just me, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, I like Kevin Byard, but yeah, I'm moving along. Brandon Jones here, but any of these guys, you can let me know your thoughts, how you feel about them. But this is a guy that was starting last year. They've got some guys in front of him now. So last year of his contract, only 25 years old. And you see, we would be really paying that cap saved portion, the 2.7 mil. You could extend him. He is a young man, and you'd really only be paying about $1.5 million on the cap. That to me is not a bad deal at all. I would not be against getting Brandon Jones. I just don't know if they're going to be willing to get rid of him. That was kind of why I didn't have him any higher here. But I like Brandon Jones, and wouldn't cost you much at all. Up next, I've got Jonathan Owens here, and he was starting with the Texans, went to the Packers. Now he is not starting, and not saying they should be sellers, but if they are, I'm all about it. And you see, they wouldn't take on any dead money. They could just get that money back, cap saved. You're not going to want to extend him or anything. He costs you absolutely nothing. 28 years old. He is a veteran, but I think he's definitely somebody that could help you out, and it would cost you absolutely nothing. Any of these guys that I just mentioned here in the bottom 10, really don't think it's going to cost you more than, a back end day 3 pick. If anything, a pick swap even, like, hey, I'm going to give you my 6th round pick and this guy, you give me your 7th round pick, something like that. So only person maybe that costs you a little more, a little Kevin Byard, maybe Brandon Jones a little bit, not much at all. Now we're going to jump at the top 10 here, and things will be a little bit different. Harrison Smith, I think you could find, an early day 3, mid day 2. I don't think it's going to cost you too much. And if they're sellers, he is older. He's 34 years old here, and he's got 3 years remaining on this contract. But, the way his contract works, you could extend him as you see at the bottom. So not only if you trade for him, you're only paying about 7.9 mil as the team trading for him. You could restructure, you could extend him, save yourself, around $5 million and only, end up paying around 3 mil in a cap hit, that is. So you could make it work. If you're looking for a veteran to come in here, think he still has enough, in the tank to help you win a Super Bowl, I wouldn't be against it, man. They could be sellers depending on the Jefferson situation, everything going on there. So I've heard his name mentioned. Why not? Now we're jumping up on in it, and I think that might have actually been number 10. Yeah, so this is number 9. We're in the top 10 here, baby. I'm losing my mind. It's been a long day. Now, Quandre Diggs, he's 30 years old. Don't know if the Seahawks would be looking to get rid of one of their starters, but they've got talent at safety, and I just thought maybe one of these guys could be pried off their hands. And you see, that's a lot of damn dead money to be taken on to trade him. So not so sure that's the road they want to go. Probably just allow his contract to, be done. But if they really just feel, hey, we're getting something in return here, that's why you would do it if you're the Seahawks. Not the money, obviously. But, he's got an out after this year. So hey, look, maybe you just let him become a free agent. But a name that I know he wants to play for a team that could win the Super Bowl, but maybe you have to wait till free agency. Now at number 8, we've got Jaylen Hawkins here. Another Jaylen in the building. But look, I like this kid. Only 26 years old, only played for 3 years. This is 4th. He's got 1 year remaining on that rookie deal, so only a $1.866 mil cap hit there. He's no-brainer there. You're, again, only paying less than $2 million there for a kid that's 26 years old, and a versatile piece that I think could definitely help. And if you're talking about versatility, another New York Giant on this list, Xavier McKenna. Now, I don't know if the Giants want to be sellers, especially to the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm a fan of Xavier McKenna, and he's coming up. He's on the final year of his rookie contract, a $2.66 million cap hit there. You could extend him, save yourself around $1 million, and sure, the cap hits will be bigger in other years, but you could easily make this work for a 24-year-old weapon. This dude, talk about Sidney Brown lining him up all over the place. You put him with him, oh my God. Again, I don't think the Giants would be stupid enough to give him to us, but my Lord, would I be more than okay with that. Now, looking at another versatile piece, Jabrill Peppers. And I've mentioned him a lot on the show because, look, he was a free agent and we needed help in the kick return department. Again, I know we like Boston Scott there, but I'll mention him one more time here before we get in the top 5. But 28 years old, 2 years left on that contract, and you can make it work very easily. They take on $1.5 million if you trade for him. You pay around $1.9 million. You could restructure, extend, save yourself a little bit of change, but you have him, lock him up. He's still, he's only 28. Still got a lot of talent, I believe, and I would be happy to have Jabrill Peppers. Now, jumping into the top 5 here, I've got Julian Love, and former New York Giant, who he's playing behind these safeties, and obviously Adams back now for the Seahawks, and we mentioned Diggs before, so he is that third guy. He still plays, but man, I'm a fan of him. He's got a 2-year deal from the Seahawks. I don't know that they'd be willing to get rid of him, but man, I would be happy to have him. You see, they would take on some dead money, but maybe you'd have to trade, one of those day 2 picks or day 3 early pick. I like Julian Love, though. I think that would be something I would be more than okay with. And with a $3.9 million cap hit, we could make it work. And again, you could extend him, move that money around, even if you just wanted to have a little bit more money, but you don't even need to. Now, we're in the top 5. That was 5. Number 4, Justin Simmons. And look, I like Justin Simmons. He's 30 years old. He's got 2 years left on that deal. And, look, I'm a big fan of Justin Simmons, but you see, $18.1 million cap hit. So you're looking at, if he were cut, that's what the money looks like. He's not getting cut. If he were traded, you see that they would save $14.4 million. They would only take on $3.7 in dead money. So the Eagles would have to pay $14.4 million. So what you would have to do is, we explained this before we traded for A.J. Brown, how you would make that work. You would take that $14.4 million, but then you extend him, give him more years. You add those dummy years, you prorate those cap hits out. So really, you could bring it down to around $4 million. You could bring it under $4 million cap hit for this season. You could just restructure what he has, have it around $8 million, but then you'd have to move some things around on your roster. So, yeah, I think, obviously there is a possibility here, and people need to understand that, when looking at these things, it's a matter of, can they? A lot of times it's like, hell yeah, we don't take an all-pro at every single position, but the question is, can they? And the answer is yes. I just told you there, but if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask away. Now, it's going to cost you about a day 2 pick there. maybe you could get a third rounder, maybe some swap in there, maybe add another player. I don't know what they're looking for, but I would happily take Justin Simmons. Now at number 3, coming off IR here soon, Budda Baker. So once he comes off IR, he can be traded. Now, he just had his deal reworked, so it looks like they kind of want to keep him around, but I don't know. So $18.5 million cap hit. This is what I want to show you. So he's got 2 years left after that extension there. 27 years old. He's got a lot left in the tank. You can see they can't cut him or it would just be straight dead money. If you trade him, though, you would only take on $3.9 million in dead money, and then you would save $13.9. So the Eagles would have to pay around $14. So the same thing we just said with Justin Simmons, we're going to try to extend him. Now we're only paying him around $4 million as a cap hit. That's not what he's getting paid annually or anything like that. This is cap hit we're talking. So you could have that around $4 million. So the answer is yes. The Eagles could trade for Budda Baker. They could restructure him. They could do whatever they want. It would probably have to be an extension, though, and they would probably want to do that after trading him. But I would not be against it in any way, shape, or form. I actually meant to have him as number 2, but I guess I got them a little switched up. Same damn color. That's fine. Because I really like Jaylen Thompson a lot, too. Now, this is a guy, he's currently playing nickel cornerback for the Cardinals, but we've talked about him before. A versatile piece. He's only 25 years old, and he's got a deal going through 2026 here. And you can see he only has a $5.2 million cap hit, but they would take on $4 million dead money. You would only pay $1.2 million. So not sure they'd want to do that unless you offer them something like a 5th rounder, a swap, something in there. But he's a talented kid. I doubt Gannon wants to give him to us, but I like Jaylen Thompson a lot. I would prefer, Budda Baker, Justin Simmons, in my top 3, but I guess I just messed that up. That's fine. Again, no specific order, right? But number 1, he's a specific order. Jeremy Chinn. And you remember this young man we talked about a couple years ago. Really wanted him in that draft in 2020, but it is what it is. A few years later, here we are talking about him. Still only 25 years old. You see, he has a cap hit of $3.3 million. So out of all these guys we talked about, this seems like the juiciest. So, and the best candidate, because look, the Panthers not only would be able to acquire something in a trade, but they're only taking on $342,000 in dead money. That's chump change, absolutely nothing. And the Eagles would only have to pay a little under $3 million. You probably want to extend him if you're trading for him. So the dude's only going to cost you $1.5 million in a cap hit this season. Are you shitting me? Howie, get on the phone and trade for Jeremy Chinn, please, and thank you. He's my number 1 because I think he's the perfect fit. And that's not just because of the money, but we've talked about his versatile skill set. We talk about what Sidney Brown brings. Jeremy Chinn, kind of the same kind of just that floater where in today's NFL, especially in the multiple schemes we have, these guys, they're weapons and they get used all over the place. So, yeah, sign me up for Jeremy Chinn or Budda Baker, Justin Simmons, whatever it may be. But just know the Eagles, Howie Roseman, he can make it happen. So, look, I do these shows so that you guys have the actual information rather than, we're going to trade for this. Like, I want you to see how we can. But if you have any questions, I know a lot of that stuff, it's a lot of numbers, a lot of everything going on. If you ever have any questions, anything on your mind, feel free to ask down below. If you got anything from this, do me a favor, hit that like button. You can always subscribe. If you want to just talk some birds, comment down below. Let me know who you like. Who would you sign? Is there someone you would trade for? Is there whatever is going on in your mind, a different position, whatever it may be? Go check out that Julio Jones video. But I'll be dropping this. It'll probably be at some point during the Phillies game. I apologize for the timing. But whenever you're watching, I appreciate you. Behind Enemy Lines will be put out tomorrow around lunchtime, Wednesday, that is. So I apologize. But just so much going on for the Eagles. Go check out those videos on the roster moves. But that was the top 20 trade candidates at safety for the Philadelphia Eagles. Appreciate you taking the time. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You stay safe out there. How we get going, go effing Phils. And as always, say it with me now, go Birds!